Hello, my friends out there, Universe of Power. This is Gabe Benyo. Welcome back to Titan Talk. We've been gone for a while. This is season 2, and I'm so glad to have two of my good friends, two Texas boys, down for the pilot episode of season 2. I don't even think they knew that they were starting out this new season. But I'm excited to be back on the air with you guys. I have with me Nick Guardione and Austin Andrade. They traveled down from San Antonio to be here today. We got some really good training in, had some good food, and now it's time to talk. Guys, how are you doing? How are you feeling after that Deadlift and Stones session we had earlier?
That was a lot of fun. I had a great time.
I'm better now that we've eaten.
You both get to leave here with PRs, so I mean that's a nice high note to leave here with. Austin, you got a PR on the deadlift today. We did a long bar, like a mammoth bar. You walk out with 900 pounds.
Yeah, no,
Unbelievable.
that was nuts. Just to feel that weight in the hands, you know. But
It's funny too because when we were driving down, we were joking about that. Like,
I'm gonna hit a big deadlift.
Hit a big
When
deadlift.
you're gonna live with Gabe, you're gonna hit a big
you're gonna
deadlift.
hit a big.
I heard that several times throughout our session today that we made it all this way. We're going to be down here with Gabe. Yeah. Do you feel like there was some pressure on to do something today?
I mean, I guess we put it on ourselves wherever we go, you know.
Yeah.
Or like when we go train with Trey, it's like, yeah, we're gonna do some big stones, you know. You're with Gabe Pena, you're gonna do a big deadlift.
Well, that's a unique phenomenon because that goes both ways. I feel the pressure on, but you guys come in here. I mean, Austin, you are at the tail end of your first year as a pro athlete. And Nick, you are at the precipice. And I know you feel like you've been at the precipice for a long time, but you're at the verge of becoming a pro athlete yourself. Yeah. So these moments where we kind of get to come together and like feed off of our own energy and different training styles. I had a damn good workout today. I feel blasted. My upper back, my traps, my hammies, like I leave today feeling very satisfied. Yeah. And that's a really good feeling for anyone looking down the rest of the year, like what sort of competitive endeavors are we going to crush this year? But this past year for both you guys, you've chased some really high level competitions. And I've told you both that, like to see you continue to press onward through your strength journey and chase arenas like OSG or America's Strongest Men, that speaks a lot to what really drives you both as strongmen. And I mean, I want to say it again. Congratulations on a strong as hell 2022.
Oh, thank you.
You guys really did some good stuff that year, but
Definitely improved.
Yeah. And I would love to. I want to touch more on that, and then hear your own feelings about this past year and how it drives you into this next year. But before we do that, for any of our audience that isn't familiar with you guys, how did you get here into Strongman? What got you both into Strongman in the first place? And Nick, I want to start with you.
It's a little bit morbid, but actually my dad passing away. So it was a rough time in my life. Obviously, losing a parent is never easy, but one of my good friends who I was living with at the time on his couch got me into the gym. Fell in love with it. I started just doing like the bro split at UTSA Rec, shoulder day, arm day, back day, leg day, ab day. And it wasn't enough. And I found heavy metal in San Antonio, and my love for strongman just exploded.
What was it that? Yeah, well, heavy metal. I mean, it is a contagious environment of just progress, and I have a very special place in my heart for the extended family at heavy metal out there, and that's what it feels like. It's always felt like family there, and I imagine that type of atmosphere to go in and become an even ever increasing better version of yourself. That's exactly what you needed at that moment.
Well, day one, I walked into heavy metal. Almost first person I met was Austin. Yeah. So I mean, I walked in and we immediately.
When was this? Well, what year was this?
This is like January 1st,
2020, 2019.
It was
it was December.
December, like New Year's Day, 2019.
So just before COVID.
Yeah, just before COVID. Yeah.
The first day I went, I met Austin. He showed me how to do circus dumbbell, Husafel, all kinds of stuff.
Homie wanted to touch every piece of equipment.
I was at the gym for 8 hours. Doing everything.
I left. I was like, nah. And then Tim was like, yeah, this dude was here forever.
I did logs. I literally touched every single event.
Did you feel like you were in a playground, like just ready to unleash on all the toys?
Yeah.
That first day was a trip. Like just seeing someone, it was honestly like a kid in a candy store just trying every piece of candy.
Before you go on, how far were you in your strongman journey at this time, Austin?
I would say maybe a year and a half. I've been doing it at heavy metal.
Had you competed already at that point or no?
Yeah, I went to USS Nationals and I did 2 local comps.
Okay, so Nick had a national qualifying athlete with the experience to kind of guide him a little bit.
Oh, Austin was already running the gym by the time I got
Did you view him as a big brother?
Yeah.
Yeah? Is he still a big brother? Or is it just a brother?
Just a brother.
Big brother.
Getting less big by the day. As we equalize.
You are becoming a bigger and ever increasingly bigger brother. I will say that, Nick. But go on from that point where you met Austin at Heavy Metal. What brought you to where you are now after your first official Strongman games?
So I really just love the training. I love the dynamic training, how every day is different. Not every show is the same. And so I signed up for the Ronnie Coleman Classic in early 2020. I was going to do like a 2-month prep as my first show, 3 months into Strongman, and COVID hit. Everything shut down. So what turned from a 2-month prep turned into a 6-month prep because that's when they rescheduled it. And so we were doing like these black ops missions to go train while everybody was snitching on each other and trying to keep people from
working out together. Yeah. That was wild times. Like we always say, prohibition working out. Like we were seriously going through the back door at Heavy Metal, lifting stones at 6 o'clock in the morning, like just doing whatever we could so we could go get a lift in.
Man, that fire has to be burning bright during those. Like you guys were definitely still chasing something then, because that's the only way that got any of us out. Into that. It was a weird time. Yeah, it was a weird time, but the prohibition lifting went on, and that pushed you on to the next phase of your. How long had it been? Was it from that COVID point to when our paths crossed for the first time?
Probably about a year, I'd say.
Well, because I said the first of Beerstone 1 was the first time that I ever saw you, met you. Yeah.
That was 2021, the first one.
Yeah. So Beerstone. So I had been lifting about a year and 3 months. I had been doing Strongman, I should say, about a year and 3 months by the time I met you, Beerstone 1. Like 270 body weight, tiny.
Pushing it, 270.
270, yeah.
He was a skinny
guy.
guy.
I walked into Heavy Metal at 250.
Yeah, he was skinny. He was funny.
I'm running around.
It's funny looking back at those old videos. Yeah.
And how tall? You're 6'4", 6'5"?
Yeah, 6'5".
Yeah, so 250 is 6'5". Like
he was skinny.
Skinny, but with the frame to build.
Yeah. And when I started just working out at UTSA, I was 180 pounds. I was a CrossFit, not CrossFit, sorry, cross country, cross country runner in high school. So I did track, cross country, and that kind of thing. So I was built for efficiency and long distance. So I was tiny.
I can relate to that. I graduated high school at 165 pounds as a swimmer. And
so you were pretty built at like 5'2", right?
No, 6'2". 6'2". I've been the same height
already.
since.
Look, already started.
Yeah, wow, he is sitting high after that stone PR he got earlier today. Good though, but so Austin, what got you the bug into Strongman? You were already a year into your journey when Nick entered his.
Yeah, so I always say this story. My wife got me into Strongman because when we moved down to San Antonio after graduating college and playing ball and wrestling and everything, and I started getting a little pudgy, and my wife was like, "Hey, you need to do something about that." So, I started working out again. I started getting back in the weight room, and I found my love for the weight room again. I'm from lifting through high school and college, and then I was working out at the Jewish Community Center. My wife had a job, was working there, and I got a free membership, so I just worked out there, and that quickly turned into like older people watching me work out, and I was like, I can't do this no more. So I found Heavy Metal on Instagram, and I found out they were down the street from me where we were living at the time, and so I just walked in, and I met Tim for the first time, and I was like, weights were banging. I was like, this is the place I need to be. They had a chalkboard. They have, no one's going to tell you not to scream or, get after a lift, and I was like, this is the place I want to be. So I started working out there, which I think sometimes my wife's like, maybe because she regrets doing it because now I spend all my time there, It's always like I'm always a Heavy Metal, but it's just a place I love. But I started there, and, 3 months, I wouldn't say 3 months later, Jackie Wood. Mm-hmm. Shout out Jackie Wood. She was my first coach,
Same.
Second at Arnold's Amateurs Pro Strong Woman. She's a
incredible athlete.
Yeah, she's badass.
Freak, yeah.
She took me under her wing, and I started training under her, which in essence is Tim's coaching because Tim coached her, and then I signed up for my first show, the Big Tex Winter Rumble in Austin, and go in there, win that one. Shortly after, then we were doing the Ronnie Coleman. I win that one, and then I go to USS Nationals. I think I took like 7th there or something like that, but no, it was like, hey, you could be good at this. And I was like, oh, I'm going to try it. I felt, and then next thing you know, hey, we're lifting weights. It's serious now.
That you could be good at this moment. Is there a specific memory in particular? I'm going to ask this to you too, Nick, where you did that. You did something and you're like, whoa, I've got potential here. Like there's something here. If I keep following this path, it's going to lead me to a good place.
Oh, I tied the USS national record on axle clean and press.
And that was it?
Yeah, I was like, oh, yeah. I won that.
You remember what the record was?
Yeah, 380.
Wow.
And
this was your first national championship?
I had 400. No, this was my first show.
Wow.
This is the first show. And I had 400 in me today. You go look at that 380. I smoked it. And I was like, yeah, no. And then I ended up winning the show, which was that's the thing. You just kind of, I was just going through the day and doing my best I could ever do. And next thing you know, I'm in first place. And they're like, hey, you went. And it comes to the last event and you go last. And they're like, hey, if you win this event, you win the show. Right before I go, they tell me that, and I was like, "Oh," kind of put the pressure on. So, anyway, as I go on it's a loading race, and I beat it by like 4 seconds. I beat everyone by 4 seconds. And
you just proved to yourself in that moment that this was a path to walk. What about you, Nick? What was that you can do something here moment?
The only one that comes to mind is at Beerstone 2022. So we had Bobby Thompson there, great guy. He was helping everybody out the whole day, being super helpful, but when I beat him in we both beat him in the truck pull,
yeah.
And then I think we both beat him in the Husafel, but I ended up winning the Husafel.
No, I didn't do too well on that.
In Husafel?
No. You did great, bro. You ran that. I mean, where was the head-to-head one? But you ran. I turned that corner, man. I lost all my breath, and then I just see zoom right past. I'm like, damn, man. But yeah, I think you won it, right?
Yeah. But there was just that moment, like, and I kind of talked to Bobby afterwards. He was just like I'm nothing special. I'm like still just a man. Like, don't put any like prestige on anything that I do. But it was just that moment where it was like, okay, like I really ain't capable, because I was never really gifted with strength, and like it never came easy. Like, yeah, I'm strong now, but I put in a ton of work to get here. I changed my entire life, my body, everything. But it was the moment when I was like, okay, like I can hang with the big dogs. Maybe I can, like, if I keep walking this path one day, I can see it so clearly to be up there.
And in that specific memory, if you literally keep walking this path, beating Bobby Thompson on a full Sturker Husafel, the identical Husafel to the one in Iceland, like that's huge, man. And that's a pretty big moment to really light that fire. I had a similar one, and you guys were both there for it. At the Shaw Classic, loading the stones at the very end. Looking at that full roster of incredibly gifted athletes, not very many of them were able to complete the whole series. And when I did that series, I felt like this is why you do this, Gabe, because you have something that is, it's different, and it could power you to a really high platform. And it's a cool thing, man. It's a cool thing to realize that power, because what is this sport and this pursuit other than a series of small, very short duration victories? Like the PRs we got today. Exactly. The PRs you got today lifting at the garage gym. Mm-hmm. How long do you get to enjoy those PRs truly until you start thinking about the next one?
A couple of seconds.
Exactly. Yeah. It's a series of very short little victories.
For the 450, yeah.
Yeah, little short victories that keep carrying us through this seemingly endless pursuit of never being satisfied. But what a beautiful path to walk. And I got to see you guys from very early on in years, and all the progress that you've made since. I mean, meeting you at shows that you did of mine in the past, and then getting to see you guys at the seminar I did at Heavy Metal Fitness in 2021, and then watching how much you grew since then. Like, Austin, you're a pro now.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts to think about.
You're a pro now. And Nick, you can be a pro, and you're going to be, just a matter of time.
Very soon, yeah.
It's
so close. And for people who don't know, at Beerstone 2022, I was actually in second place going into the Stones last event, behind Bobby Thompson by, I don't know, 5 points or something.
Oh, he was in the lead by a lot, but yeah.
Yeah, well, so in the last event, second place, I had Austin and Josh Hatfield tied for third behind me by like a point. And they both got the 425 stone or the 400 stone. I didn't, so I got knocked off the podium by half a point. I missed my pro card in the last event.
Trust me when I talk from experience and saying that those half a point losses really don't allow you to forget them. And even like when we were doing Stones out there today, I guarantee you, whether you knew it in the moment or not, there's a part of your mind that is recalling that very narrow margin of the feet. Like, hey, Nick, when it starts getting tough, you get tougher and get the thing done. But that's what we did.
Stones have never been my event. But
Forte.
yeah, but we're working.
It's looking good and it's progressing well. Austin, you just got done competing at America's Strongest Man. Yeah. This was a big stage of very capable athletes. It was good to see America's Strongest Man move to that level of what we all feel like that title should test in terms of the caliber of athlete. And that was there. That was definitely present there. Yeah. What is your takeaway from that experience?
I mean, definitely always want to do better.
So what was your final placing?
Fifth.
That's
fifth, and slightly behind Roy, and right behind Trey. And he took the third. But I mean, I think I showed what I'm capable of. It was like maybe half an inch away from being an elite presser, pressing 200K. You know what I mean? So like, there's that moment. Then going toe to toe with Trey on a loading event. Oh, come on.
Doesn't get better better than that.
I mean, that, you know what I mean? Like, one of the best in the world. So, it was fun. It was a great experience. At being at the Olympia too, like, just being in that atmosphere of expo. You're around, the greatest physiques in the world, which is wild because here we are, 400, 350-pound men.
But I get what you're alluding to is that you have this arena of people who have taken their pursuits to some of the highest levels that you possibly can, and it's a contagious feeling, and it's this feeling of like another I proved it to myself moment because look where I am, sort of thing. So
and I was kind of describing that same feeling to him about what it was like to do OSG too, because everybody there was so good that it just, you couldn't help but just be a better version of yourself. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. We were talking about it during training. Yeah. That is, for all the weighted class athletes, that is the world's strongest of their competitive class. And you look at the roster size of some of those classes. Yeah. Anytime you have more than 30 people in one weight division, the margin for error on any one specific event is huge, to where you can be sitting comfortably in the lead and then you make one slip up that's maybe a half a point or half a second difference or one less rep and you go down 10 spots.
I think one of the like, oh shit moments, this is like, I'm in it, was seeing the roster of America's Strongest Man. Yeah. And you see Bobby, you see Trey, you see, what was his name? Georgia. Wesley.
Yeah, Wesley Claiborne. And then, of course, Tyler Cotton out there, too.
Yeah, Cotton, just, I mean, these dudes have been
Marcus Crowder was out there. I mean, Crowder's a Crowder and I have gone toe-to-toe, and he is incredibly strong. He's a freak.
The way, that dude's big. Mm-hmm. He, like, every time you see him, he's like, he borderline looks like a bodybuilder, how big he is, and then the way he pushes weight is crazy.
He is incredibly strong.
But seeing my name amongst them, that was like, hell yeah, I'm right where I need to be. This is, that's what pushed my training for that too. Is seeing my name amongst those names, and you're just like, hell yeah, this is it.
Is that what you think of before like big lifts or going into an event and contest?
I tell myself before big lift and I'm a bad motherfucker, and I believe it. Yeah. That's before I lift anything, that's what I tell myself. And, you believe it enough, it's going to happen.
Nick, do you have any mantras that you tell yourself right before a big lift?
No, I just really like to fight with the weight.
Yeah? Yeah. Give me an idea of paint that moment, like when we were out there and you were tugging on those top end deadlifts. What's going through your mind in terms of like channeling the physical power needed to do the thing?
It's not necessarily, and I do a lot of visualization and like just thinking about introspection about my psychology of why I'm doing the strongman and why I'm lifting and that kind of thing. I love thinking about that kind of stuff, but it's just building up that pointless rage and just exerting it. Pointless rage. Like pointless as in like it doesn't have a specific target. Oh yeah. Like a rage that you just can tap into and do what you want to do to get the work done. Oh, for sure.
I can almost relate. Yeah, but I can. It kind of paints a picture.
Hard to put into words.
At least from the way that I experience it too, is like in those moments prior to these big points of exertion, it's like you're creating a massive reserve of rage and emotion and don't know if you want to say violence, but aggression, like ready, like power, just swelling.
Yeah.
That you
really
pick
like
those moments of when you tap into it and pull a little bit out.
Yeah. I really like visualizing, just like getting literally fire. You know what I mean? Like as silly as that sounds,
Literally fire, like
literally
over
fire.
you, over the bar,
Yeah,
like just all
a
around
silhouette,
you.
just a silhouette of a person, not necessarily me in high detail, just like fire, and you can like feel it. You know what I mean? There's a lot of breathing techniques. Like there's this yogic breathing technique. I don't know. I forget the name, but it's called like fire breathing, where you inhale deeply, and then as you exhale, you picture yourself like trying to ignite a fire from a red hot coal. So as you're breathing, you're trying to get the coal to glow, and you just keep doing that, and eventually the coal will catch fire, and that's when you feel the rush of whatever that feeling is. The
adrenaline.
Yeah, the adrenaline.
The
But
ignition.
you can control it by like concentrating on your breathing, and it works.
So you have a very a mentally like reflective, and I don't know how to properly put it, but you have a strong mind game when it comes to
Oh yeah.
visualizing these things, approaching
yeah, I
lifting. I mean, you were showing me a tattoo that you got over your scar on your hand of a Viking rune.
Yeah.
And tell me again on the air what that tattoo means.
So it's from the Guardione book, which is a book of Viking runic magic. And so basically you would carve, I doubt you'd be able to see it on camera because it's tattooed with the colors of the scar on my hand, but it's you carve it into a piece of oak, like a little switch of oak, and you throw it at your enemy's feet. And basically it's like an intimidation rune where they can't help but be terrified of you and your potential and your violence.
So you're wearing this on your hand now.
Yeah.
It's part of your body. It follows you into the arena as you're competing against the world's strongest. What does it do to your mental atmosphere? You know?
That's what I'm talking about when I'm like calling like pointless rage. I'm not calling anybody like specifically out, but I have that mentality of like it's time to work. You know what I mean? It's time to put everything on the line.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, as if challenging someone to a life or death fight. That's what this kind of thing means to me.
Get deep. I think it's you.
And
It's you.
It's
Well,
my
Austin-
past self, my weaker self that I'm going to war with.
destroy that boy in the mirror that you see
That
gawking at you.
skinny little cross country man.
You all right, bro? You all right?
Well, back to you now, Austin. I mean, you played ball back in school. What sort of experiences from the mining game perspective, going into games, contests, these trials, did that arm you with?
Yeah, so, sports psychology, I took a couple classes on it. And it's crazy, hindsight, you go to these classes and you realize you've been using these techniques your whole life. And even before I get to a big lift or before I used to wrestle, I would seriously just zone out into myself. And then right before I go, I'd start yelling. Like, not like, sorry, I would just, and I start.
There's something about yelling at the top of your lungs to where you pull that diaphragm into play where if you're at like your max exertion yell, it wakes up something in the body.
It
It's
just wakes you up.
undeniable.
It's primal.
Yeah.
It's
That's
for
exactly
primal.
it.
And I would do that in high school and wrestling. Same thing with football, and then at that point too, you don't think when I'm shaking someone's hand in a wrestling match, it's a fight for me. It's not a wrestling match. We're gonna fight with no punches. And if you win, you're a better man than me. If I win, then I beat you. And the same thing with football. Every play, I'm gonna physically dominate this person in front of me to say I'm better than them. And I wouldn't say I needed it growing up, but it was sure as hell fun doing it. You know what I mean? So, playing sports and using the that getting yourself in that kind of fight or flight kind of mode. It's addicting almost to me. And then now that I can find that same environment with lifting weights, I think it's helped me, especially after playing sports. You kind of go through this lull of like kind of depression, I would say, that I found it lifting again, that I can exercise that again. And I can go to that place in my head to where, you just wake something up and because honestly, we live 2023. How hard is our life compared to our ancestors back in the day, right? So You really need to,
even just from the perspective of having air conditioning.
exactly,
Like all these things that we take for granted that make the ability for us to follow the pursuits that we want to use our energy on that much more full.
Yeah. So
I was thinking about like how much land that I would need to sustain my eating habits now. You know what I mean? Like
The reflection on your carbon footprint.
well, not necessarily that, but like how much farming time would I need to have to sustain my level of eating now? How many cows, chickens, land of, rice paddies, whatever, to potato fields to live like
You guys watching The Last of Us?
Yes.
So there's no spoiler alert for you, but that episode with the Bill and Frank, these two guys who have survived 20 years into the zombie apocalypse, and they've got a totally self-sustaining farm.
Just one raid. That's crazy.
It's crazy, but I mean, they have whatever livestock they need, they have the crops that they need, the electricity, and I think about that, like how hard that would be to do, and like you're saying, the amount of physical land that it takes up. But
it's just crazy to think about.
It is crazy to think about, and it's even more crazy to think about as a strongman, knowing how much we consume just to keep our bodies
there's no reason why we should be this big.
I mean, a lot of people would argue that the human body is not made to be this big.
Oh, yeah.
But at the same time, being able to just test the seemingly endless limits as to what we're actually capable of achieving, that is so much more than just predisposed evolutionary limits. That is proving something to ourselves as a species, as what greatness is. It's like the whole, why did a human want to go climb Mount Everest for the first time sort of thing?
Because he was stupid. I'm just
There's no reason why a human should be at 28,000 feet.
Yeah, right.
But well, look what the body can do. It can stand on the top of the earth. And
he did it.
Have you seen the people that do that with no oxygen?
Oh, it's crazy.
And all their breathing techniques?
It's crazy. And I've also seen all the rescues that have to be done for people who think they can do it and wind up not.
You want to try it? You want to try it?
I would like to do Everest at some point in my life. But I love my oxygen, so I'll definitely have my tanks up there
You're
with
going to have
me.
to drop some weight there, bud.
Well, yeah, I've already said when my body can no longer do strongman to the degree that I want to,
no, for sure.
First thing I'm doing is steadily conditioning myself down to probably under 250 pounds. I think 230 would be a good way to aim for, but spending my time in the mountains, being more agile, more nimble, more able to enjoy the mountains, because I found a part of my heart there. And that's this is another section that I want to get on to talking to you guys about. A topic is, what keeps you going down these pursuits? Because this is something that on a personal level, sitting at the end of my daughter's first year of life here on earth, I have looked at this whole past year at life in a new light. It's the comparison of everything that I spend my time, my focus, my dedication on is now a precious resource that if I'm not doing it to something that either I want to be doing or that I could benefit from, I could be using it on her. And that's the better use of my time. So what I'm getting at is what keeps you going down this path? Well, at what point are you getting so much out of, and here's the big one. This is the big thought that occurred to me. At what point are you getting so much out of what you're following in this path of strongman that were you to die tomorrow or were you to die in your next competition, you could say that I would have died happy because I was doing what I loved. And if that is too hard of a reality to accept, then
you need to quit.
Yeah. So what is it that keeps you guys going down this path? Because
I was thinking about that the other day, like what I would do if I didn't have strongman. And I have a mechanical engineering degree. I've never used it. I graduated right as I found strongman, and I could be making, $70K a year starting right now as an entry level mechanical engineer, but I would hate it. That is not my life. That is not who I am anymore. And I don't know. Maybe you take this one. I'll think about my answer.
I've always.
There is no me that exists without strongman.
I mean, I don't want
this version. We'll come back to that.
I don't want to say like my whole life is revolved around lifting weights, but it definitely is sports. Like I've always been in sports, no matter what I've done. So I guess you could say being in a sport has.
What unique aspect of that, of the sports competition or the drive, is it that keeps you going? Because this is something that, just like from what we did today, it requires effort and hard effort. Like you're out under the sun, lifting uncomfortable things, heavy loads, back-breaking loads where you feel that internal pressure skyrocketing, like, what keeps you doing this? Because there could be a point where your body breaks down and it's like, well, what do we do this for?
So, I mean, that's the thing with anything though too, is I'm always going to be better than I'm going to better myself. And the next time I do something, I'm going to do it better than I did the last time. And it's all internal. I know it's a lot of ego, but at the end of the day, like when it comes to strongman, you can't control who shows up. You can't control if Gabe's showing up. You can't control Nick showing up to the show. What I can control is me. And if I do better than myself, then I've done the best I can do. And wherever the cards lay, then that's it. You know what I mean? I can be happy with that. But I think, all the shows I do, I try my very best to do that. And I think that's what it is that drives me, is that every time I step onto the platform or I get into a race or something, I want to do better than I did the last time and try to beat myself. And honestly, and that's the thing about lifting weights and compared to sports that I've done in the past, this is the first sport I've ever done where I'm not competing against an actual physical person, where I'm not reacting off of someone else's reaction. So, you know, I find it kind of really easy. You know what I mean? It's the weight's there. The weight ain't going to move unless you move it. So there's really, in the most simplest terms, you just got to do it. Mm-hmm. And the only way you're going to do it is if you do it. So, you know, I think that's where the drive comes from is, and even more so now, is I'm trying to do better than I did the last time.
It sounds to me like the progression, especially to refine it, the self-driven progression of what you are capable of doing is what really drives you. And that's an undeniable source of power and satisfaction and fulfillment. And you just said that there is no version of you that exists without strongman. Elaborate on that.
So this is where Austin and I differ a little bit. It's not, and this sounds super corny. I know how it sounds, but strongman is not just a sport for me. It is my entire life because I go to sleep trying to get 8 to 10 hours for recovery. I wake up and stretch at a certain time so I can get my food in. I, dedicate most of my day to preparing for the gym, getting mentally ready, recovery, eating every couple hours. Everything that I do in my day has getting better in mind. But it's not just the weightlifting aspect of that. Strongman for me is fortifying myself in every way. So not just my ability to lift weights, but my ability to draw out my power, to control my mindset, to be a better family man, to be able to control my emotion better for my family, to, just build strength in every aspect, not just the strength lifting, because it's all of those little aspects combined that I feel makes a great strongman and honestly a great human being. You know what I mean? If you're constantly trying to progress, not just, how much can I deadlift, how well can I place at shows, but if you're always looking to see how disciplined you are, if you're always looking to see how much better you can be no matter what the situation is, that's a way of life.
Jesus, make me feel bad. All right, cool.
No, I mean, but your answer was great.
I think you're the same way. I think you agree with me. You're the same exact way, but that's what I'm always thinking about.
No, for sure.
You know
and
what I mean?
You know what's cool about that, and we are training partners, is I think Nick takes a real scientific approach to weightlifting, which is badass. And I feel like I have more of an artistic approach to weightlifting.
I sound like the dumbest strongman. I think about things.
No, and it comes down to, because there's some times where Nick, he gets real focused on the little levers and this and that, boom, 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 this. And I'm like, bro, you just need to lift the weight. And the same thing with him is sometimes I just push weight so much that I forget about certain techniques that I be focusing on. And you know what I mean? So it in turn, and at the end of the day, it's how we enjoy it. You know what I mean? Yeah. But it really, we're able to feed off of it. And I think we're able to dive a little bit deeper into each side of that, because we have each other to keep us grounded or in check.
Yin and yang.
No, literally.
Really what it is.
It's crazy how similar we are, but at the same time, our differences are perfectly balanced.
And the thing is, with him and his eating, I'm the worst at that. But since he's focused on it, and I want to get better, and I know he
won't let me pass him because of anything.
Well, not just that, but
the competition drives us to be the best version of ourselves.
Exactly, the competition, but also, I also got a buddy that I can go to to ask questions about, on that kind of stuff. And we can elaborate on what to do.
And I think there's a difference too between malicious competition, like I hate this guy, I want him to suffer because I win, and brotherly competition. That's a whole separate world, and I don't think that you can quite extract as much growth from hostile competition than you can from like a competition that stems from brotherhood. And
that dives into someone's.
Well, you guys have been a dynamic duo, because you found him at the very start of your
day one
strongman career. Then you found a training partner who added a new element of understanding to your training and motivation and drive.
Yeah.
But let's talk about those differences. I have specific memories, I think, of Beerstone 2021 of like something not going right in an event, and I just see you guys screaming at each other and almost getting pushing each other, almost getting into a fist fight. I'm like, are they good? But
that's happened plenty of times.
Tell me about those points of clash. Like, what are those like? Because all brothers have them.
I think,
you want to do nationals? Or
and I'll go. And a lot of people don't understand it. They just think is it fighting. No, we care so much because his success is my success. That it honestly it pisses him off when I don't do good. Or the same thing with me. Like I've told him so many times and he doesn't do it. Yeah. I'm gonna get angry. I'm gonna get frustrated at it. And you shouldn't, as you're kind of doing your training partner a disservice if you don't tell him, if you hold that back from him. So sometimes it's not gonna come out as nice per se, but getting it out is the best thing you can do for your training partner anyways, because they're going to learn from it. And it's up to you as a training partner not to take it personal.
There is something really crazy about the human experience of training with another individual. And this goes to the people out there like myself at times who are training on their own. When you are around like-minded company and you are consistently feeding off that other person's energy to where you have aligned your focus in the same pursuit, to where you are both investing time, energy, and resources into this. Just like you said, his success is your success, his failure is your failures, because you start to feel that direct comparison and reflection of like when you had a shortcoming, if that shortcoming wasn't there, you'd be better.
Yeah.
And that's that level of accountability and just it's interactivity that it benefits you every now and then if you don't have what you guys have, to go out and find a way to train with other people. Like even just having this training session with you guys today, I've got a new fire that I don't get me wrong, I had plenty of fire burning already, but I have a new fire now that it's like, wow,
it's refreshing.
It is refreshing.
And I think like since he said about nationals, it was a bad situation with the wheelbarrow race, and I slid across the line. I got the second penalty.
Let me go into detail.
No, anyways, he comes out, he starts yelling at me, and I said, Nick, you need to get in my face, and so we start pushing each other, and everyone's looking at us. But that was just, brothers fight.
I know.
He was this is like the second to last event. He had his pro card in the bag, 2021 Nationals. He was about to either first, second, I don't remember what it was.
No, Jack and Tom had that pretty locked up. I would have been third.
But it was podium and it was a pro card at Nationals. Big deal. And he's real good at the wheelbarrow race. He's real fast, even though it doesn't look like it. But so I'm having a horrible Nationals. This is my first Nationals. I tried to cut weight, which I'd never done. Horrible day one, or horrible weekend all around. Yeah. But I was watching Austin. I witnessing him get his pro card. It was momentous, And right before he finishes, about halfway through the wheelbarrow race, he's winning by a whole wheelbarrow length. So about
it was me and Jack. I almost had Jack too.
6-10 feet, huge gap, and over a 50-foot run is not that long to get that far ahead. He was flying, and he looks to the side to showboat. And that makes the wheelbarrow turn and drift and skid across the finish line.
I got cocky for sure. I did. Wow. And that cost me.
He got a 5-second penalty.
Do you remember that?
A lot.
I make him remember.
That's the thing he do. It's never. If I'm forgetting about it, he'll remind me about it. But the same. And then too, like at Beerstone, that happened that first year. The one thing I can say about playing sports and football is next play. You always got another play. You got another play.
Short memory.
Nick at that time did not have that, and he would let shit dwell on him. And
I still kind of have that to this day.
And I don't even remember what it was, but I think something got messed up with scoring, right, or something, and he wasn't going last, so he wasn't in first place in his eyes, and he took it as, oh, I'm a failure. I'm like, bro, what? You got another event you got to worry about. no, like, we don't care what happened. What happened to happen. You can't do anything about it. It's now. You got to go now. And that was I think that's what you're talking about, is because that was a big learning moment for him. I was telling him, bro, you can't.
One of the best.
Cry about it all you want. You ain't going to fix it. It's already done.
One of the best pieces of advice our coach, Tim Ingram, ever gave to us was have a short memory. Because if you have a bad day at the gym, forget about it, reassess, re-engage, and attack. If you have a bad contest, okay, it's not the end of the world. You can fix your things, train some more. But also, short memory, if you win, don't go to the gym cocky and slack off, because then you're not going to win. Have a short memory in all things. You know what I mean? Just keep fighting always. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a really good point. I mean, especially in the heat of competitions too.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Because
event to event, it can make or break.
We know how badly we want all these pursuits. That's why we're in those competitions in the first place. Now, when things don't go right, it's really hard to partition your focus and just be like, "This is behind me. Let me just think about what comes ahead." But there's been some new experiences for both of you guys now competing at the high level, to where we were talking about this earlier too, where you're at a contest and the competitor that goes right before you gets hurt and pops a bicep or something.
Yeah.
Like, that's a whole another type of mental training that you have to prepare yourself to, because what was it that you were saying about the sandbag that popped?
Yeah, Brett, good guy. Idaho, not Iowa. He didn't tear it at the end of the day, so thank God. But he went to go lift it, and he felt something funny, and it dropped, and I was next, and I was like, "Oh, bro, I ain't touching that thing. Like, that's got bad juju on it." You know what I mean? Like, so I went to Brian. I was like, "Bro, you can kick that shit, man. Touch it, something. I don't want to be the next person to touch it." And so, like, I mean, in the heat of the moment, we were kind of joking about it, but I had to flip the switch real quick, because here I have to go load a 440-pound freaking sandbag.
Yeah, I remember to the Arnold in 2017. We had a yoke carry. It was, I think, like 900 pounds. Vitautas Lalas's brother, Marius, was in the heat before me. And halfway down the course, he snaps his Achilles on the yoke in my lane in the heat right before me. And I'm just sitting there like,
oh shit.
Wow.
That's a bad one too.
Yeah, it's a bad one. But to take yourself out of that moment of like, I guess it's a very human reaction, of course, right?
I mean, you feel bad.
It's empathy. I mean, you picture yourself in that situation, what that might feel like. That's just human nature. But for some reason, that's never bothered me.
Man, I mean, because I mean,
that's good.
I've seen some.
Don't let it bother you.
You should, yeah. But I've seen so many crazy injuries on a football field or wrestling mat, like, to where it's hard not to get to you. You know what I mean? That's why I couldn't be anyone in the medical field, because
it's hard not to get to you. But on the flip side, when you're trying to deal with these things, this is what the person has to realize is, if you walk this path in the first place, you acknowledge that the potential for injury is there, that things can be very consequential. So if you have a problem in dealing with this, what the hell are you even doing here?
I mean, it should be going through your mind at all times.
To a degree, yeah, absolutely.
I mean, we all know what it can do. We all know what, going Stones. Your biceps are at risk.
Well, yeah, what did Tim tell us? Regardless, we're gonna have to pay the piper for the weightlifting that we've done, or you know what I mean, that we're doing. Like, eventually, we're gonna have to pay, and you know what I mean. So I mean, you don't never know when that time's gonna be.
I was hearing some clips, and I would really like to see the full video, but Mitch Hooper put out a video on his YouTube where he was talking about, is Strongman healthy or something like that. Yeah. And it's like, I heard him touch on it, on the concept. And again, I need to watch the whole video. I encourage listeners to check it out. But by competing in Strongman each year, are we taking years off of our life?
Oh, I think so.
Yeah? But how drastically would you say?
I don't know. I mean, I'm not a scientist, but you're also taking years off your life being 400, 300 pound man.
I think that's the biggest thing. I don't think it's lifting the weights necessarily.
I mean, at the same time too, you can go right outside and get hit by a car. So what are you gonna do? You know what I mean? You're gonna say, "Well, oh, it's not healthy." No, I'm gonna enjoy my life, and I'm gonna do what I need to do to enjoy it,
and chase that progression that proves that you are a powerful individual,
and
capable of some great stuff.
I guess that's another thing, to go back to what you're saying, like to say that. I guess that's one of my motivations, to be able to say that one of the Andrades was one of the strongest men to ever walk the earth. That's what drives me.
I can relate to that, because the things that keep me going are very similar. You know, I have from day one seen myself in my mind standing on top of the podium at World's Strongest Man. Yep. Whether that day actually happens or not, we'll see. But I'm sure as hell going to give it all my effort to do so, because it's something that means a lot to me. Like you said, for a Peña from the Valley, a boy from South Texas, to climb all that way and to keep following a dream that he had, not only is that a legacy for myself to paint in the history books or my family, but the biggest driving factor is for my daughter to know that her dad really wanted it and he chased it. And this goes back to something that I asked you guys earlier, and I want to circle back to, because I mean this has really been on my mind. And I guess a reason why it has been on my mind is at the tail end of last year, I saw it in some of my circle of friends. I'm sure you guys have your own personal experiences with, but we lost people. Yeah. Even someone who was there with us at Beerstone at 2022 last year, Rebecca Lorich. Yeah. That light was cut out early. You know, rest in peace to Rebecca. I mean, she was a great person to be around. She was a friend. Not I didn't know her deeply, but we had some good times. And to know, like, when those lights go extinguished, it really gives a whole new feeling to how temporary life can be, or how fragile it can be, or how you can wake up one day and
it's gone.
It's gone. Yeah. So to know that I'm following a path that is potentially taking years off the tail end of my life, is like, how do you rationalize that? How do you keep going on with that being okay? And like you said, because we are proving something that is an abstract idea far larger than our own selves, a sense of pride that generations of the Andrades, of the Peñas, of the Guardiones can take pride on. Guardione. So let me give you the let me give you the E at the end.
That's right. You got to do the hand thing too.
But that's a lasting thing, that whether it teaches the inspiration, whether it carries over to a child to find pride in that too. I don't know, man. That is leaving something behind that lasts longer than you are, in a way. And that's
legacy. And another thing that seems kind of silly too, like when we're talking about like building up that fire and using that aggression, I think that not only does that pass from name to name down your lineage, but like people see that and they get a taste of it and they pass that along. Like I feel like it's the purest form of like appreciation in humankind. You know what I mean? Like admiring how strong someone is. Like that's basic.
Oh, that's beginning of times. You know
what I mean? Like that's how
you're the strongest dude, you're the king.
Yeah.
It's proving capability, and capability is what all throughout the history of time has led all animals across the board to become the best at the best position in the food chain or success, whatever. And strength is one of those capabilities.
Inspiration,
especially through inspiring.
It inspires not just,
and that kind of goes to this phenomenon that we see with world records from year to year, is something that has never been done before, seems so far off. But all you have to have is that desire of like, hey, I want to be the one to prove this. And I will work very hard to do it. And then when it's done, it's like, oh, someone else sees it. It's like, oh, well, he did that.
Yeah, it's the catch-22.
We can do this.
If he can do it, why can't I? And why can't I go just a little bit further?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
and then the next person, well, if he can do it, why can't I?
Like deadlifting.
Why can't I add 1 pound?
Exactly. It's just 1 pound. Or on deadlift attempts, it's just like a picture of that 5 pound plate at the end. Or it's only 20 more pounds, just a little 20 pound dumbbell.
Yeah, well, I'm going to do whatever you do, but add 10 pounds.
That's what I said to Gabe before we deadlifted today, by the way.
I know. And how many pounds behind were you?
About 150.
And that's because I
close
stopped
enough.
there.
Hey, close enough.
Yeah. But it was a good deadlifting session, guys.
You smoked that 900, by the way. That was incredible.
I told you about it there, and this kind of goes on your memories of that wheelbarrow or half point losses that you have. But the Hummer tire deadlift from the Shaw Classic last year in 2022, going head to head with Novikov on that, and like feeling how close it was, even down to the moments leading up to this where I've got, these words I'm speaking in my mind, pumping myself up, and then I feel Brian's big ass hand just slap me on the back, and he pulls me and he's like, Gabe, you got this. And he's pumping me up and motivating, giving me every conviction that I already have, but it's Brian freaking Shaw telling it to me. It's like, all right, all systems go. And then just falling slightly short knowing I fully gave it my all, but then seeing Alexi walk out there and making it just look so crisp, it's like, we got work to do. And it's humbling because you put so much into it and you could taste that victory, but I cannot forget it. I remember it every time I go to a heavy deadlift, and I know I have much more in the tank than the 900 that we did there, but I remember that. And every time it's everything that I do on the deadlift from between here and whenever the next trial is
Strongman is always
to get that world
pain.
record. Yeah.
It's always the pain is what is the progression.
Yeah.
Every time.
But that's the nature of the beast. So what is on track for the rest of you guys in your competitive years? What comes next? I know, Austin, you just got done with Americas. It was a long prep. You were telling me that you're looking forward to some downtime.
Oh yeah, I mean it's been nice to do, like, I guess, quote unquote off season. You know, you're not into. We can get into like strength training, I guess you could say, because most of the time it's just peak training. But I mean,
and to put into perspective too, we've been training nonstop for 3 years now.
Oh
since I started
yeah.
Since I started at heavy metal, it's been show after show. One of us is competing always.
You get to a point in your career where it's like, if you've been doing this long enough, you feel the mileage on your body, every step that you've taken to get there. And I mean, you're at that point now too, where sitting at the tail end of 3 years down this path, things might start to be hurting.
Oh yeah.
And, I mean, you're waking up with grumbles, or it's hard to walk around, or
just getting older too. But yeah, no, it's gonna be nice to. It's been nice taking. I mean, not because you have that date in mind, and then it goes so quick, and then you have the show. It's been nice to like just take it week by week.
I hear you, man.
And
About 2 months now.
enjoy training, like it going back to
reignite those fires that got you there in the first place.
But I mean, obviously, any show that pops up, I'm down to do. I mean, I definitely want. I'm OSG for sure. America's Shaw. It's all big shows from now.
Yeah, well, you proved that with this last year, that you are putting your focus onto the big ones. You chase the big experience. And Nick, what comes next for you this year?
I would love to do the Shaw Open as well. So whenever that drops, I'll definitely be doing that, and I'll go back to OSG and get to those finals this year. Absolutely.
You came so close. You came so close, and I know that type of stuff just drives you further. And it
is what it is.
I'm
just remind everyone that Nick decided to almost chop his hand off last year.
Yeah,
and then let me do one of the heaviest qualifiers.
My comeback was OSG.
And then let me do one of the, he said screw National, he said screw the Arnold, let me go to OSG, where it's the best, dudes are going to World Strongest Man out of that.
Cutting my hand was the best thing that happened to Strongman.
Yeah? Show that to the camera right here. Let's see that little, it looks like you wrestled a shark right there.
Oh, he doesn't know how to use a bandsaw. He didn't read these.
So for some context here, I made custom knives for about 7 years as my sole source of income until I paid for school and lived. And so I have a full workshop that I can make whatever I want. And it was after Texas Strongest Man, where we were competing with Josh Thigpen and Trey and Austin.
Right after Beerstone.
Right after Beerstone 2022. And I was just spent, and I was working in the garage, and I was not paying attention like I should, because it really, it demands your attention. Power tools, saws, and that kind of thing. Like, if you slip up even for a second, you're done.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. So, but
luckily you got your hand and nothing else. Man.
I got very, very lucky in many ways.
Oh, you would believe I got a text, hey, I cut my hand open. What? Yeah, I'm in the hospital right now.
I remember seeing the footage that you posted to your Instagram. Dude.
Wait, what? What? Yeah, and then you showed me the video. I'm looking at a saw scene.
It was April 1st, so no one believed that it was real.
Oh yeah, it's
what an inconvenient day to slice open your body,
especially coming from him. Where everything's almost bullshit.
Yeah. But a bandsaw fell on my hand and cut every extensor tendon in the back of my hand. I had no use of my fingers. Yeah, I had
did they repair it by physically reattaching them, or did they let them grow on their own?
No, yeah, they.
So that was, how long was that operation? Did
I don't
tell
know.
You?
I was asleep.
But
I think 4 hours, 6 hours.
I feel like they were so intricate stuff.
He was in and out and quick, but yeah, and then that's the other thing too. He's lifting with me. I went out and bought him the harness.
I texted Austin.
I'm not. It's like, bro, you're deadlifting, bro. It's nothing.
The day after my surgery to repair every tendon, I texted Austin whenever I got out of my surgery. I go, hey, I survived. He goes, I bought you a deadlift harness.
I said, good. We're deadlifting tomorrow.
Is it that Spudding one?
The Spudding deadlift harness.
Dude, those deadlift harnesses. Whenever one of your arms goes out of commission, they come in handy so much. Yep. Like you do not want to stop.
I'm not going to give this dude another excuse not to work.
Day 2, I have a hand in a cast, and I'm just banging him out.
He's like that.
Amazing. Yeah, it's amazing.
But a comeback to the arena of the world's strongest.
It's the single best thing I could have done for my strongman career. It made me. I got a CPAP. I redid my diet, everything from the ground up on how I trained, recovered, lifted, was completely reset.
It shows in your lifting. I even told you when you went to OSG, I know you were, I don't know if nervous is the right word, but were apprehensive of what your deadlift performance would be, and you wound up doing something that impressed me.
It was a PR.
I mean, your deadlift came in a big wave progressively up to that show. And I feel like that added, I mean, what changed? Because you were recovering from a surgery. Let that be the only surgery that you have to go under the knife for, from here on out.
Yeah, I ain't going to buy another deadlift set. You do it again, that's your own fault, stupid.
We never want to have to go under the knife, but I'm glad you came out of it, supercharged from the experience. Yeah. So that's pretty sweet. And you were asking me about it earlier today, and I feel like I'm sure some listeners would care about it too. And I'm sad that we could not make Beerstone 2023 happen, because here we are almost at that anniversary mark of where it's just about been a year. That's where you won your pro card. I got to see you become a pro at my show, and against the likes of Bobby Thompson, Josh Hatfield, and of course your little brother right here.
Yeah, no, I definitely have to give you props and a lot of kudos on my strongman career, because what was my 2021 Nationals invite was Beerstone, the first Beerstone. My pro card was, I said, hell with the Arnold, I'm going to Beerstone.
I remember. I was like, this guy neglected, or he passed up on the Arnold opportunity to do Beerstone, and I felt special that she chose to do that. And you did the damn thing.
I definitely owe a good part of my strongman career to the guy down in the valley. You know what I mean? So
there's no owing, but I will. I'm definitely proud to know that I played a small
role in it for sure. But yeah, it's the opportunity awesome, come around, you got to take it.
Yeah, absolutely. You took full advantage.
It was a special show because not only did it bring all Texas Strongman together, but for us especially, it was like a benchmark of where we've been, what we've been up to the past year. Like 2021 Beerstone, little 270-pound me, barely able to press 250-pound axle over my head, 200-pound or a keg, whatever that was. Yeah. And then, Beerstone 2022, I'm repping 345 on log.
Oh, it's big. Yeah, no, and I mean, what was I gonna say to that? Man, like you, I don't know who made the event. So obviously, it was a lot was coming from you, but I knew God put a throw and a freaking front carry for me to earn my pro card. You know what I mean? And there was no deadlifts in there. Luckily, there was a press away. Luckily, there was a press away. Luckily, there was a truck. I'll pull anyone in the world in trucks.
He's a freak.
You know what I mean? Luckily, and then good thing there were stones. God bless. I knew, I got to the show. I was like,
bad thing there were stones. Bad.
I was like, yeah, of course, this would be the way I had to do it. You know what I mean?
Those were my bread and butter events, like carry events, throwing events. Like that's me right there.
It was a great show. I take a lot of pride in it, and the pride that I take in it was a big factor into why we were not able to continue the show for this year, and we have not completely canceled Beerstone for posterity. It's just this year we were not able to do it on the March time that we wanted. Mm-hmm. As an explanation as to why things happened, at a very base level explanation, we wanted the event to be even bigger and better, and that required a lot of moving parts, and those parts simply weren't moving fast enough. To further go into that a little further, I've made a lot of recent changes in my life, like closing down my gym, like really dedicating self to my at-home life with my daughter and stuff like that. Being a father, and a lot of that for the sake of being able to effectively focus my efforts at my pursuit of being the world's strongest man. And with that amount of focus going towards, like, I closed down my gym for the sake of following this. I needed things to be moving at a certain pace where I was not able to keep them moving at that pace along with the help of the team that I had. So,
and real quick for you, Gabe shows, bar none, the best you can get after, like you can do. It's like that first Beer Stone. It was so much fun, not just the events and lifting, but the environment. You know, the brewing company, the band that was playing. It was, and we're like, man, we're gonna make this a yearly trip down. I always joke coming down to Mexico, but you know what I mean. Like you're coming to Beer Stone. It's such a fun event. My family has a great time. You know what I mean? Like everyone wants to be there. And then the amount of effort that you put in, it shows. Like not only just for the athletes, but it's a spectacle. Like, and that's what's cool is, you know, it's a parking lot show, but it don't feel like that. It feels like you're in an arena. You know what I mean? You have all of the valley here. You know what I mean? It feels like, right? And it's so much fun. It really, I think that's what I was like, oh yeah, I don't really want to do Arnold. Like, I want to do Beer Stone because of how much fun I had the previous year and how much work you put into it that, you know, shows it's a badass show. Like, you know what I mean?
It's great to hear that, man, because at the tail end of all the effort that goes into it, it's those experiences that we're able to give the athletes that they carry with them for the years to come. That's what makes it all worth it. And that level of knowing the standards that I set for myself and knowing the experiences that I want to not just match but improve on.
When you said that too, even when you said like, man, I just knew it wasn't going to be better than what it was. I knew when you canceled it, it was for a reason like that. You know what I mean? A lot of people, I guess, would say, "Oh, you don't want to do whatever." Whatever. It's because they haven't been to it. You know what I mean? To compare, that first show obviously was amazing, and then the second show was just
out of this world. It was like a leap ahead of the first year.
And then you're just like, "Oh, we're gonna pull a plane next year." And then you know, as me, like the number 3, like we're coming back year 3, and the amount of effort you put in, it's like, damn, this might even rival fucking World's Strongest Man. You know what I mean? Like, this is awesome.
Well, see, the thing is I've done enough shows now where I've competed in, and I've seen what a great show is, how a great show is put together, that the standard of what I want my shows to be, that bar has been pushed on its own. So Beer Stone 2023 may be canceled, you know, for this year, or at least for this March. But Beer Stone is not canceled forever. There will be a point, whether it's on a different name, whatever it be, there will be another Gabe Pena show coming on, and I hope you guys are there because I'm sure as hell going to make it worth your while.
If we go compete, we'll be there.
I know I can call on you. Yeah. Like you said at the Shaw, Texas boys helping Texas boys, and it's been damn good to have you guys down. But I've got a space nerd here in Nick Guardione. Austin, I don't know if you're much of a space nerd, but we're going to space out here, brother.
No, yeah, I'm going to make fun of y'all for being here.
Yeah, so Nick, you actually went to Starbase when you were down here for Beer Stone, right?
Oh, I've been multiple times.
How was that last experience where you went to Starbase?
So they didn't have the Rocket Garden up yet.
Did you say Rocket Garden?
Garden, yeah, that's where they.
That's what they call all the old rockets.
Starships.
Cool.
It's a garden of big ass rockets.
Hey,
you
this
can
is
go walk
new
around.
to me, man. I'm trying to.
Bro, it's the manliest thing.
Sure.
Shooting stuff into
we
space.
picked up rocks today. I think that's pretty manly.
Yeah,
okay.
It can pick up a skyscraper and put it into space
with fire.
With big fire.
Cool. Big fire. Good.
I'm trying to understand.
Anyways.
So last few times I hadn't seen the Rocket Garden, so getting to drive up to a starship,
it's one thing to see the images of these rockets, but to like be there standing, like these are huge vehicles, man. It's
literally a skyscraper.
I'm sure if I go, I'll be impressed, and then I'll be like,
I'm sure you will
words,
too.
But
I'm sure you will.
I'm not gonna give you guys the satisfaction right now.
That's okay, man, and that's why you're the yin to our yang right now. We need to have that balance on both sides.
Oh my god, I don't care.
Austin, while we're at the start of our space out, what does space mean to you? What does space exploration mean to you now? And there's no wrong answers, no judgment. When we talk about space, when the media talks about space, what interest do you have?
I guess none.
None? Okay.
No, well, I don't. I'm not a big fan of roller coasters.
It's cool.
I mean, it's cool, but I mean, yeah, I don't know. I mean,
do you think there's benefits?
I mean, for
space?
sure, and I can't wait till y'all figure it out. Benefit me.
I think that just painted his entire outlook on space in that very eloquent sentence right there.
Not me.
That's so. I mean, it's cool. You know, you're definitely younger. I remember like looking at those photos and kind of getting like anxious about it. It's kind of fearful, you know, to me. Just like when you look at the glaciers underwater, you know, it's how it's kind of, you know what I mean?
It's big and it's scary, and it's in an environment where we can't live.
Well, exactly. And then I think you're kind of, you have some, I don't even know how to say the words, but you if it doesn't look comfortable, then I don't want to be in it.
Yeah, no, I totally get you. Space is anything but comfortable.
So, I mean, I think it's cool. Like, I think, rockets are cool and stuff like that. It's cool, but I'll wait until, show me the YouTube video.
Show me the highlight reel.
But no, I'm never going to be in that damn thing, you know what I mean? So.
Well, it's your life, man. If you don't want to spend it crammed into a metal tin can floating in the void, then that's totally fine and respectable.
It's cool.
So I'll let you simmer on the idea of yourself in a spacesuit for a little bit.
No,
but, dude, Nick, SpaceX is on fire, man. I mean, quite literally.
So mission of the most powerful rocket of all time.
Most powerful rocket, the biggest rocket that there's ever been. Starship is getting ready for its first orbital launch, where they're going to send the full vehicle up into orbit for a short amount of time before it comes back down. And this is huge because the biggest rocket with the most powerful, the biggest payload, this is how we get things up to orbit, to moon, to Mars. I combined the moon and Mars there. See what I did there? But this is how we extend our presence in space. I think it was maybe like two weeks ago. No, not even more than that. SpaceX had a contract with the military on a Falcon Heavy rocket to put classified objects up into orbit for Space Force. I mean, SpaceX is now working with Space Force. They have a $3 billion contract with NASA to use Starship to get humans back to the moon.
They just passed the record for most mass to orbit ever by.
I saw that. I think one of their single rockets has already gone on over 9 missions on that zone. 14 missions on single booster. That's incredible.
All they do is just clean off the welds and be like, yep, they're good, and then they send it back up.
Reusability is huge because we went from the space shuttle system where we were dropping millions of dollars.
And SpaceX is still the only one using reusable boosters.
For now, but I mean, the pressure is there. And you're starting to see a lot of private companies come up with new ways to make space.
A literal paradigm shift. Space travel will never be the same again.
But we're getting to a point now where the idea of commercial space travel, SpaceX already has, I think, 3 privately booked flights to the moon from wealthy civilians. That's crazy, right? What do you think of that, Austin? People can already buy tickets in advance
in a skyscraper
to go on a Starship to the moon.
I think people should. I don't know. It's not my money. I can't say anything.
It's a lot of money, the ticket. I mean, it's enough. These private trips are what helps to fund a lot of the current research going on.
It's just, I don't know.
But not for you, right?
You've been doing the moon. Go give each other high fives or what?
In
low gravity, you're going to be able to jump real high.
All right, so before planes,
yeah,
you're going to go through the air? Just walk, dude.
Yeah, for sure.
And now
we're gonna travel.
Now are you scared to fly? Yes, I think so. Right?
Oh yeah,
you're scared to fly. But there's going to be a point. There's going to be a point when you're going to go through space like it's an airport.
Oh god, where are we going to
go? To our settlement 2 on Mars.
To the capital on Mars.
You know what you were telling me earlier when we were eating? You were talking about fond memories of going to Montana.
Yeah.
And from where we are sitting in South Texas right now, Montana is about a 36-hour drive. So it's either you endure that 36 hours or you hop on a plane. But think about when we were talking about our memories at Glacier National Park, how far out and seemingly otherworldly and beautiful that place was. Mm-hmm. It's only accessible to a degree because we're able to hop and go from A to B.
For sure.
Same concept for space. What if there's these crazy, beautiful places on Mars or deep beneath the seas of Titan? Like, what do you think of that?
If you could just get to Mars and you could breathe normally, would you go? Gravity is, I think, like 75% of Earth's gravity.
So I can go hit some records with that?
Yeah, you can go.
Do they count on us?
Smash some Earth records.
How much do you think you could log press on the moon?
On the moon?
600 pounds.
Oh, 1,000.
I know we could calculate. I think it would be more than that.
Oh, yeah. Something like that.
I think it would be significantly
75% of 400 would be 300.
3? What?
So a 400-pound log would feel like 300 pounds.
Regardless, I would love to see Austin get up there. Again, while I was having a simmer on it, it's the idea of him in a spacesuit that I'm having trouble with at the moment right now.
I don't think they make 4Xs.
I don't think they do either, but if there's enough money there, right? Like, money speaks for itself.
Fun for the R&D.
But Starship is getting ready. They had a full static fire of 31 of its 33 engines.
I believe the 2 engine shutdown was for like a conservative safety to keep the engine safe.
31 of these engines just going up.
It doesn't mean that they're going to have to replace those engines. It just means that they have to slightly raise the safety margins to a slightly higher level. They were just playing it real. That thrust was only like a tenth of the, like maybe a quarter of the thrust that it's capable of.
It's crazy. Absolutely crazy.
Like those orange flames that it shot out was fuel rich.
I saw it, and I would love to have felt that sonic boom of just all of that power turning on. And I know you want to go. I want to go when they have that full orbital launch. You know, it would be devastating to see that thing blow up on the launch pad. But I think they've got it down now.
Because it's a
That's why they're going through all these contingencies. That wet dress rehearsal where they pumped, I think they said like 10 million gallons of fuel into the rockets. Did you see that where the rocket got like all condensated with gas on the...
I did say Nick showed me some stuff where they are like flipping the rocket up and then come back and land. That's pretty cool.
That was
the belly flop maneuver, the flip and land.
I mean that was a pinnacle moment in history when rockets were able to land themselves.
The belly flop maneuver.
It's the flip and go.
Flip and go, just there. So
was that a land or a takeoff?
What
landing? The flip and go was it a landing or a takeoff?
You're going too far for me.
As space gets more and more accessible to civilians, albeit very wealthy civilians, you entertain the idea of like what those trips are going to look like. You were comparing it to possibly like an airport.
Yeah, I mean, look at how unsafe planes were at the beginning, and now we have it down to a T.
Yeah,
we have literally down to like the mile that you can go on an airplane before something fails.
Yeah, and with all the diagnostics now that we have on spacecraft, like
just enough safeties in place. I mean, like it's going to be dangerous until it isn't.
Well, everything worth doing is usually dangerous, or like in terms of exploration.
There's a lot of crossover between space and pushing the boundaries of engineering like that and Strongman.
Yeah. It's testing limits.
Yeah.
It's seeing what's capable.
Always pushing, always improving. Like it's
until
the mindset is the same.
Yeah.
The mindset is actually exactly the same.
If there were these tickets awarded to go to the moon on this civilian flight and you were selected.
Nope.
No, not at all?
Nope. Not till
I was expecting that out of Austin, but what about you?
I'm like flight 30.
Flight 30.
Yep.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking like we have already established
100%,
a colony, like it's thriving.
I'm not going
and now they're just giving you like, hey, you won the sweepstakes, you get a ticket to go to the moon.
100%, yeah.
They have you fully covered with everything that you could ever want, like all the essentials.
Interesting.
But you can only bring one earthly possession with you.
Don't say barbell. That's weird.
Don't say smartphone either. Like you have all the essentials that you need, but one earthly possession. And Austin, I'm gonna same thing to you after Nick answers. What would you bring with you?
Shit.
One earthly possession.
Wait, you're not coming back?
Maybe you're going to space. You have to entertain the idea that you're not coming back. No, you're coming back. They're flying you to the moon to stay for an extended amount of time, but eventually you'll come back. But let's say it's 8 months. What do you take with you if you're going for 8 months?
Besides like survival items,
they have all that provided for you.
My wife,
not a person.
Okay,
she's a possession.
She is my earthly possession.
Technically,
Excuse me.
Assume she's there and she has the same thing, but you don't get to know what she brings.
A brisket. No, I'm just kidding.
That's a really good question.
3, 2, 1, go.
My
gun.
No.
What if it pops off on Mars, bro?
And there's aliens that I gotta fight.
I don't think they're gonna let you take it on the spaceship.
Hopefully they arm you when you get there.
Pinky swear you won't shoot it in the spaceship and kill everybody. Pinky swear.
What'd you take, Austin? What is an earthly possession that would mean a lot to you taking it there?
I mean, if a photo of my family.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's a good one. Why? What? How would that photo like enhance your experience?
Their family's there.
I said his wife is
hypothetical.
there.
It's just my wife.
That is your family, dude.
Well, yeah, but like when my
and I guarantee you, if his wife wasn't there, it would reaffirm his answer of a photo.
Oh yeah, and I can't take my phone.
Weak.
Is that weak?
It's weak.
I think that's a good answer.
Nick, you've been simmering on it for a while.
My dad's ashes because he's the one that got me to fall in love with a lot of this stuff.
Really? Yeah. How, like, give me some of the earliest memories you have.
So it wasn't specifically space flight and that kind of thing. Like, we never watched the shuttle launches or anything like that, but he's the one that would, like, buy me. So I have a degree in mechanical engineering. I've always been super, like work on my own car, build my own stuff, like that kind of guy. But it was because of him. He saw that in me as a child, and he would buy me these little mechanically intricate, complex Christmas gifts because he knew I was going to take them apart and mess with them and try and improve them and put them back together. And he just like fostered that in me. And I don't think I would be the kind of guy that I am today without that sort of like beautiful intuition that he had about something that I was interested in. You know?
Wow. That's beautiful, man. So would you, if you don't mind me going down this personal path, would you take his ashes with you to leave some of them there on the moon, if not all of them, or to take him there with you and bring him back with you?
Bring him back.
Yeah?
Yeah. He belongs with his family here.
Yeah, you can't leave him up there, bro.
Nah, it's too cold.
That's great.
What would you take?
You don't get to ask me the questions.
Man, it's not my podcast, man.
Smuggles the
Come on, I had to sneak one in, bro.
Did you smuggle her in the luggage?
I think,
What did you say?
Smuggles you in the luggage.
Oh,
The
she
baby,
can go.
the baby,
She
dude.
can go.
but if she couldn't go, and let's assume like the government has you fully taken care of, like you got your computer console to where you can call them or something, stuff like that.
The government's taking care of us?
Okay, I say that loosely. Like whoever's getting you there, like your colony is outfitted. Like if you need a way of contacting Earth, like a phone, you have the phone there that they gave you. But I think it would want it to be something sentimental, like what Austin said. Whether it be a photo or not, I don't know.
I mean, if we could FaceTime,
if you could FaceTime, then you don't have to take a photo. You're right. But I think something like, even like this might sound, some people might take it as creepy, but like a hoodie that my wife would always wear, or that my daughter would wear, something that smelled like her, to where I'm sure you've heard from like testimonials of astronauts that have to be in constantly recycled air or stuff on that space station.
Smells like ozone.
Space smells doesn't smell appealing.
like fart.
Yeah, I would
No,
like to.
it smells like ozone because it's all like
What does ozone smell like?
Not good.
like in electricity. Like you can smell the electricity, so it like smells like atomized air.
I think like a hoodie that smelled like my wife or daughter.
How static objects have that like kind of.
I can barely breathe as it is, bro. I don't know. But
For me, it would be something I could smell.
that's cool. I like that.
Yeah,
That's a good
I think
idea.
that would be good. Lightning round here on some space stuff, and this goes to both of you. I'm going to ask you some questions, and you answer it
Oh, God.
truthfully but fast. Start with you.
Okay.
Favorite space movie?
2001: A Space Odyssey.
Wow.
Kubrick
Austin.
is my man.
What's the one where they go in the Earth?
Will
Is
Ferrell
that
with
Core?
the dinosaurs.
No. Oh, Land of the Lost.
Journey to the Center of the Earth.
Is that don't they go in space there? No. We talking about alien movies too?
Space or alien movies? Yeah, that counts.
Signs.
Signs.
That scared the shit out of me as a kid.
Dude, that scene of that alien walking on that footage, that always stuck with me, man.
I'm almost 30 years old, man. It still scares the shit out
It's
of
like,
me.
why does this alien walk exactly like Sasquatch? Like, oh, it's creepy.
Bro, these are like perfect Austin answers.
Yes. You're getting the
This
real
is
me.
exactly who Austin is, everybody.
Star Trek or Star Wars?
Star Wars.
All day. Star Wars.
Don't even play.
Favorite Star Wars movie?
Empire Strikes Back.
Why?
I like the scene with the taking on the walkers.
Nice. Favorite Star Wars movie? And why?
Why let you answer?
No,
I let you answer.
Nick, it's lightning round, bro.
Return of the Jedi.
Why?
The conclusion and the character
Typical.
growth of Darth Vader and Luke. Fuck you, dude.
Favorite planet in our solar system?
Earth.
Besides Earth.
Uranus, dude. We said the same thing.
I love how you guys looked at each other and had that moment of eye contact.
Oh, we already know what each other's thinking. That's what
You guys are fucking adorable, man. Oh, you ruined that one.
We win that.
Saturn.
Saturn. Why?
The rings.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
well,
So you can't
can't
actually
do
actually see the rings with your naked eye. It's impossible.
What are you
It's
talking about? They're
impossible.
right here.
That's a picture of Saturn.
but you can see Saturn through your telescope.
Yeah.
You can't see the rings.
On the telescope.
Look.
I see.
Well, not all of them. Like you will not. You will
see-
never see the full ring stack like
I'm
that.
calling bullshit on this.
I see astrophotography all the time.
I'm telling you,
Of Saturn.
It's like So
you're talking about like without the shadow in the background, or what?
What do you mean?
What are you talking about? You can't see.
You can't see all the rings.
Ooh, is it good?
This is an impossible image of Saturn.
Tell me why.
Texas Titan versus.
The dust is so fine you can't actually see it with the normal telescope. Okay. You have to have like infrared wavelengths and like you know
how come a picture can pick it up then? Little snapshot photo.
You're talking about the completely unbroken rings, like without the gaps.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Well, yeah. There's only the thickest metal ones.
I've seen Star Wars before, bro. You can see the rings.
Saturn's not in Star Wars, dude. That's fictional.
It's a galaxy far, far away.
Exactly.
Thank you very much.
Hey, if it works there, it can work here.
If you had to have,
I'm pretty sure that's true. I'm pretty sure that's true.
If you had to have a weapon on an alien world, would you want it to be a laser weapon or a bullet weapon?
Bullet weapon.
Why?
America. I gotta show them what's up, man.
I'm gonna say trick question: giant greatsword.
Giant greatsword. Would you want it to be a
Never
giant
runs out.
laser greatsword
Like
or
Halo?
just a metal sword?
Like Halo
Metal.
sword?
No, it'll never run out of batteries.
If lightsabers were real, would that change your answer?
Yes, I want to be a Jedi.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know
Because you
about
can
going
reduce
off
the
the
mass of the greatsword because you can rely on the laser sword to cut.
This goes off of the movie Martian starring Matt Damon. If you had to pick between eating vegetables that you grew from your own poop,
Matt Damon.
That's when you made a bunch of potatoes?
Yeah.
out of his own poop,
Okay.
or if you had to drink your recycled and refiltered urine, which would you have to pick?
I'm eating potatoes.
Yeah, that's totally fine. Okay.
Something about the way you looked at me and said potatoes. Just
I don't
so
know, man.
effortlessly.
Wait,
Oh,
how,
he likes potatoes. Okay?
how filtered is my piss?
I don't know, man, but I'm with you. I would pick the potatoes too.
Yeah.
I just feel like it's
I
at
feel like
least
you
something
can-
that's grown from the nitrogen and all that stuff.
You can brush off
you
some
just
poop.
and I saw it on Bear versus Wild where you just slowly distill your pee, dude. It just tastes like water.
Okay.
You just let it evaporate. It leaves all the pee. And you just drink it.
If
Oh,
there
Come on, dude.
Just like the rings.
one place
Bear Grylls
in the
is the
entire
most
universe / galaxy, something that you may have seen on a Webb telescope image or a picture book through your education.
Why'd you look at me when you said picture book?
Because I assume that's all you've seen on the topic of space.
That was the last time you were interested in space.
Did you color it yourself?
Did you see all the rings?
I definitely didn't get in the line.
If there's one single place that you could go to space to see and instantly come back,
The freaking surface of the sun.
The surface of the
badass
sun?
would that be, dude?
but of course
Like
you
if
would
I
have to
could
be
survive?
fully equipped to survive it and just see it.
Badass.
I think that would be crazy.
To see it, like standing in a ship with like a.
Just all the
I take it
plasma
you've
art.
seen the Cosmos series with Neil deGrasse Tyson.
There's Carl Sagan series.
It's been a while.
He had this ship of the imagination that he could take to all these places and see it as if he was
I
there,
remember that.
standing right at the surface of the sun, like probably Mercury distance. That would be nuts. That would be nuts. Where would you want to go? Anywhere in the universe.
I don't know, but I've seen some like pictures of galaxies. I think it'd be cool to be like right in front of that. I think
so, too.
the awe factor would almost kill you.
The all factor in.
I would love to see from whatever safe distance or a ship capable of doing it, a black hole actively devouring a star.
What's that movie with Chris Pratt and that one chick from Hunger Games?
Guardians of the Galaxy.
No.
Oh, you're talking about the one where they're the only ones on the spaceship full of colonists, right? It was like a Netflix.
Take it
movie.
back. Favorite space movie?
That's your favorite?
Yes.
Really?
I forgot about that one.
Why? What made it your favorite?
I don't know. I think it was cool how they had a. I don't know. It was cool. They had to like survive.
Yeah.
And then that stupid
Martian
robot
is
bar
a really
guy
good one, too.
Yeah.
kind of upset me in the.
So also a thing with that too, like all the James Webb Space Telescope stuff, you can only see all those dust particles because it's got like infrared.
Oh, we're still in the space rings.
You can't see it. You can't see it
Wow.
with your naked eye. I know,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Well, it's just
Sorry,
one of those
I'm
things,
ruining
Nick,
your
where
dreams, but you can't see any of that stuff.
one of these-
all the colors are it's a range of infrared light. It's not an actual color that you can see.
Bullshit.
Hey,
Austin, what would it take to get you to space?
a lot of fuel.
What would it actually take to get you to space?
A lot of money.
Yeah, money would be the factor. Like,
They have to
okay,
pay you to take
Yeah,
this
they had to
space.
pay me to go there.
what are we talking here? Like right now, as it stood, what would be the price tag to get you to space? Like, hey, we want to do some experiments of you lifting shit on the moon. How much would that cost?
Generational wealth. I had to set my family up.
Well, what are we talking here?
Billions.
Billions?
Yeah.
Like more than the actual NASA contract to get to moon?
I don't care about that.
I need that generational wealth. Take care of my family.
That's what I'm saying. Come on, man. I got to help out
We are going to get Austin to the moon. We have the technology. SpaceX, their Starship is capable of millions of pounds.
250 tons to orbit, dude.
250 million tons.
Hey. What? Yeah.
Isn't it 250 million? No, 250,
that's a lot of
250 million pounds of thrust. That's what I'm thinking, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
250 tons to orbit.
Yeah. Thank you for correcting me there.
If it's reasonable.
He's not. He's anything but. Just look at him in all his glory.
He has no idea what's going on right now.
You started talking about thrust. The only kind of thrust I know about.
That's where you're gonna have another moment where your eyes both look at each other and say Uranus at the same time.
I don't know if Nick's thrusting anuses. But.
Well, if his deadlift is anything to speak for it, he's got some work to do. On the air. That's right, Guardione. Let that kindle your fire for whatever comes next.
You only called me out also on the OSG live stream too, by the way.
That's because I love you, man. Take it as a term of endearment.
You have no idea how many people were like, damn, he just roasted you.
Can you remind me what I said?
You were like, not known for the strongest deadlift, but we'll see what he's got here. He's pacing. He's getting his mind ready.
And that reaffirms that you surprised me.
He's being real, bro.
I'm being real.
I'm pretty sure that
you weren't the only one that I was hard on with my commentary that weekend.
True,
so.
but the event ended and you go, man, Nick, he got 4, which is pretty good, but he looked like he could do a lot more.
You know what it is?
Bro, we all were
that was an awful impersonation you just did of me, and I'm slightly disrespected. But at the same time, I know your feelings are hurt, so I'll let it go. But it's because I see a version of you that is capable of so much more, and I know you're going to achieve it because you are actively working hard, which is the same I can say about you, Austin. You guys have come a very long way in a short amount of time. If that's any indicator as to what the coming years are going to be for you, it's some very exciting times ahead. But gentlemen, thank you for coming all the way down to South Texas to spend some time with me.
Absolutely.
It's been a hell of a great training day, some good eating, and a great podcast. I'm really glad that you guys were able to come down to kickstart off season 2 of Titan Talk. I know I kept that a secret for you, but you guys are my first episode of the new season, so thank you for that.
Proud to be here, man. Thanks.
Yeah, it's been great. To all you out there listening in the universe of power, I'm going to have some unique opportunities to how you can be more involved and engaged with Titan Talk in this coming season, and be on the lookout for that. I'll keep it posted on the Instagram, but I look forward to what's yet to come in both Titan Talk and our collective careers, gentlemen, mine and y'all's. Guys, I wish you a safe travel back to San Antonio. We're going to have to do this again. I'm going to have to come up there.
Oh, yeah.
I want to get a lifting session in heavy metal, and you guys take me out to eat.
Hey, we're about it.
You're welcome to stay there, too.
That'll be fun. Gentlemen, thank you again so much. To all my friends out there, Universe of Power, this has been Titan Talk. Until next time, this is Gabe Pena, and I keep wayfaring out there with curiosity, hunger, and desire to be better. Until next time.